Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have started gene therapy, the useful properties of recombinant DNA technology in medicine. So, what is gene therapy? Genes are hereditary units which carry some characters, traits. They produce proteins. Genes express in the bodies of the organisms. So, for example, if a gene is not functioning well, it means if a gene is mutated by deletion or any of the types of mutations. If a particular gene, what is a gene? Literally to say any part of the DNA which has some nucleotide sequences which can express either in the form of cistron or recon or mutant. So any gene, because of some mutations, some changes, if it stops its normal functioning, it means if a gene is responsible to produce a protein, or if a gene responsible to produce an enzyme, or if a gene is performing some function, or a gene is having some role in the physiology, in the phenotypic character expression, if it is not working properly, it means because of mutations, that particular function, that particular character, that particular protein, that particular enzyme cannot be synthesized, which leads to some defect, some disorder, some disease. This is called defective gene, mutated gene, defaulty gene. And gene therapy is a technique. Gene therapy is a technique where we are going to replace this. We are going to correct this gene, this defective gene. How we are going to correct this defective gene? The gene correction is nothing but to remove that gene. In the place of that gene, a new healthy gene is added. The process of treatment of a defective gene to replace that gene with a healthy gene in the place of a non-functional gene, mutated gene, defective gene, defaulty gene. A healthy gene is incorporated by the help of genetic engineering, recombinant DNA technology methods. This is called gene therapy. And gene therapy is useful to correct the defective genes, to correct various types of genetic disorders, hereditary disorders, which are carried by one person to another person, from one generation to another generation. One such a genetic disorder is identified, and first clinical gene therapy was given to a 4-year-old girl in 1990. That girl is having a disease called SCID. I explained in my previous class, severe combined immunodeficiency. Severe combined immunodeficiency. It is associated with a gene called ADA gene. This ADA gene produces or synthesizes normal, when it is normal in condition, ADA enzyme. ADA enzyme means adenosine deaminase enzyme. So same name, adenosine deaminase gene. So when this gene, if gene deleted, shows mutation, change. Deletion is a type of mutation. We have seen in the mutation genetic code. If gene is deleted, no enzyme will be synthesized. Then it is important to know what is the function of this enzyme. The enzyme is responsible to build up immune system. If the enzyme is absent because of the gene mutation, the immune system will become failure. Total, if in the absence of enzyme, ADA enzyme, total immune system becomes failed. Fails, it means this body who is having total failure in immune system easily susceptible to any type of pathogens. Any pathogen, even a small bacteria pathogen, any virus, they can easily attack and they are not going to go out. Within no time, severe, the body will be affected with the symptoms and it is no cure for this disease. Immune system fails means it cannot produce antibodies. So gradually several types of pathogens may attack the body and it will become fatal. It will leads to the death of the organism. So this is called severe combined immunodeficiency because of ADA gene, because of ADA enzyme, failure in the immune system. Now, the clinical gene therapy given to this ADA gene, functional ADA gene, treatment is bone marrow transplantation or enzyme replacement therapy. Bone marrow transplantation or that particular enzyme has to be replaced. Adenosine deaminase enzyme. Enzyme replacement therapy. So in some children we can use this, in some children we can use. So both of these are methods of gene therapy, but both are not completely curable, completely, permanently curable. So what does it mean? If you replace the enzyme again, that enzyme can last for some time. When cells are growing, after a particular periodic time, we have to inject the enzyme again. So cells which we are going to incorporate into their body, genes which we are going to incorporate, they should be incorporated properly. So permanently. How permanently? For example, if we want to incorporate the gene with the help of recombinant DNA technology into our somatic body cells, only particular somatic body cells will be having that gene, remaining body parts. So they have to grow well. These cells, they are not immortal always. So periodical infusion of this has to be taken care. Every 6 months once we have to send these. So the method of treatment, we are going to watch permanent method. Before entering into the permanent method, how these SCID patients are taken gene therapy. The first step in the gene therapy of SCID patient is T lymphocytes from the patient body. From the patient body. taken out and cultured. So from the patient's body we are going to collect the cells. So in the patient means he is not having ADA gene. So ADA enzyme is not there. We have collected these cells, nucleus, cytoplasm, nucleus, cytoplasm. So many cells, nucleus, cytoplasm. So taken from the body, cultured out. Now from a healthy person's leukocyte cells, leukocytes of healthy person having functional ADA gene, functional ADA gene, they are here. Functional ADA gene is here. Now this is introduced into a vector. So we have studied, my dear students, transfer of genes with the help of vectors in plants, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, whereas in animals, retrovirus. So the transfer of genes with the retrovirus vector, retrovirus vector, this retrovirus the vector which is used to the introduction transfer of genes, retrovirus used as vector. We are going to transfer this gene, and what is this retrovirus? It is disarmed. Disarmed. Now it is going to have the clone of ADA gene. Retrovirus is having, it has the capacity of transferring the gene. So cloned retrovirus with ADA gene. So in the book they have given adenosine deaminase complementary DNA, cDNA. By using a retrovirus as vector, it is infecting the cells. So infection of retrovirus as a vector to the lymphocytes of the patient body. What happens? Let us see. When it is capable of delivering the genes into the cells, retrovirus is as a vector, it is capable of delivering the genes into the cells. Now, or we can do this with the help of microinjection also in the stem cells. So generally vector method. Now, transfer of ADA gene into the lymphocytes here. The ADA gene is present. The cells which have not received the gene, they will be washed out. They are not taken into consideration for further culturing. Now, these cells with active are cultured. The cells with active ADA gene, active cells with ADA gene, active cells with functional ADA gene are cultured. So they are called transgenic, genetically engineered lymphocytes. Transgenic or genetically engineered, lymphocytes which carries healthy ADA gene. Now we are going to incorporate all this into the patient body. Transfer of these cells or injection of these cells into patient's body. As in, these cells are growing in the patient body, the patient will be recovered with the healthy immune system, but reintroduced into patient body. So like this, a defective gene, that is ADA gene for the synthesis of adenosine deaminase enzyme, it fails to synthesize it, which fails the total immune system, easily vulnerable, susceptible to various types of pathogens attacks. Area antigen antibodies will not be produced, self-immune system will be lost, cell-mediated immune system. So we have corrected that gene by recombinant DNA technology, by vectors and by culturing these cells. These cells are incorporated into the patient body. But as I have said earlier, it is not a permanent cure because these cells are not immortal. They are mortal. For some time only they will work. After some time, again, patient body requires healthy genes. So, periodically, like doses, how insulin will be given to the patient, like that periodically, infusion of these transgenical cells or genetically engineered lymphocytes into the body is required. So it is not a permanent cure. Periodically, such genetically engineered lymphocytes has to be infused, infusion, entering inside, injecting, infusion, periodic infusion is required because they are not immortal. The page number 211, I think in the last paragraph they have given. Then question comes, what is a permanent cure, sir? A permanent cure is that if a healthy gene collected from the bone marrow cells, a permanent cure could be if a healthy gene collected from stem cells or bone marrow cells. What is that healthy gene? For ADA, ADA gene. If a healthy ADA gene collected from bone marrow cells and introduced into young cells or embryonic cells, to young embryonic cells. So we have to diagnose its presence, ADA is present in the embryonic cells. At that time, if you could take a healthy gene from a bone marrow of a healthy person's ADA gene and we introduce into the patient's embryonic cells. The concept is last sentence. It's not easily understood by the students. If a functional ADA gene from the bone marrow cells and introduced into young embryonic cells in the early stages of the embryonic development, blastula, gastrula stages are there, no? What will superficial cells of the blastula stage. If introduced in young embryonic cells at early developmental stages of embryo, it can be a permanent cure. So embryonal cells are having stem cells. Our bone marrow cells are having stem cells. Stem cells are those which are capable to produce complete body organism, like totipotent behavior, multipotent, pluripotent behavior. In plants we will see totipotency, but animals we are not able to see totipotency. But some cells which are present in the bone marrow, which are called stem cells or embryonal cells, are the cells which are present in the embryo in the beginning. Those cells are having the capability of developing into complete different organs. Embryo is not having any organ at all, but it is able to differentiate into various organ systems. It is possible only because it consists of stem cells. So if we could transplant, if we could implant a healthy gene into the healthy conditions, healthy cells of the embryo, a healthy gene, it is a permanent cure. Otherwise, all these embryo replacement theory or transgenic lymphocyte, genetically engineered lymphocytes are not a permanent cure. So bone marrow transplantation, the bone marrow transplantation mostly may not be successful. If it is done in the earlier stage, it is also a cure. So gene therapy means a treatment of gene, treatment given to the gene. Which gene treatment is given? The gene which is not working properly. Why genes are not working properly? Because they might have undergone some changes due to mutations or variations. So during this, if any gene is, so many such genetic disorders are present in human beings, and there is a chance that most of these genetic disorders can be cured by gene therapy. Next, for the convenience of study to understand, we have given, but all these diagrams they have not given in the NCERT textbook. Next, how genetically engineered organisms, genetically modified organisms are useful in medicine we are watching. First we have seen how genetically modified organisms are useful in the production of genetically engineered insulin, and next we have seen gene therapy. Now, how these organisms are used in molecular diagnosis. Use of genetically modified organisms in molecular diagnosis. Diagnosis means to identify at molecular level. For the effective treatment of a disease. See here, my dear students, a person is susceptible to disease, a person is diseased. How we are going to identify? A person is diseased. So we can identify a particular person is diseased by the symptoms, external manifestation. If any disease causing pathogen, bacteria or virus is entered into the body, after entering, it may cause damage to the body, and it can increase in its concentration, number. When it is increases in its concentration, that increased concentration or high amount of pathogen in the body is represented in the form of external manifestation. External manifestation means outwardly appearance in the form of symptoms. So, by the time when symptoms are present on the body of a human, we are not able to identify whether he is a diseased or not diseased. So, identification of a person that he is a disease is by the symptoms. But that symptoms, when the symptoms will appear, when the concentration of this pathogens is more in the body, it means almost it is too late. By that time, these pathogens might have caused some damage to the body, some harmness to the body. So, if we want to, by this time, if we want to treat that, it will be difficult, complex, painstaking, risky. There is a chances of cure. May not be cured in less time. It may be cured. It will take time to cure it. So, it is important to identify the disease in its early conditions. Whenever a pathogen enters into our body, in the early stages, if we are able to diagnosis means early diagnosis they have given. So, if we diagnose a disease in the early conditions, we can treat effectively. If we understand the pathophysiology, nature of the disease, or causative organism of the disease, cause for the disease, my body is having some disease, I will go to diagnosis. For what purpose? To diagnose with what happens to my body. So diagnosis means to understand the nature of the disease. What is the nature of the disease? Means causative, cause of the disease is called diagnosis. To understand which pathogen is responsible, causative, whether it is a bacteria or virus or some other protozoans or any parasite or any worms, Platyhelminthes, Nematohelminthes, or any type of allergic reactions or chemical substances or antigens, proteins, or any RNA, DNA materials which are responsible to cause. So, the early diagnosis means to understand the nature of the disease and causative organism. Pathophysiology means study of various changes that occurs due to a disease. See, my dear students, these first two sentences of the molecular diagnosis, they have given jumbled in the book. From here to there to here, we have to understand, we have to adjust that. So, for the effective treatment of a disease, we have to identify the nature of the disease or causative organism of the disease and what are the changes that occurs due to a particular disease. For example, chickenpox, smallpox, measles, mumps, so flu or dengue or typhoid, malaria. So different diseases are having different symptoms, different pathogens. So they will show different bodily changes. What changes here? Physical changes, physiological changes, mental changes, biochemical changes that occurs in the body due to a particular pathogen. Study of various changes, physical, So what are the natural organisms, natural characters, and how after a particular disease he is having, what are the changes occurs in the natural behavior? So naturally human being characters are like this. Whenever a disease A attacks, what happens? When a disease B attacks, what happens? So there are some changes. Each and every disease is having its own role on the living organism's body, its effect. So study of early diagnosis, pathophysiology. Pathophysiology. Due to a particular pathogen, AIDS, these are the symptoms, these are the changes in the behavior, in the physiology, in the physical body, in the biochemical nature, like that. So here, with our conventional studies, normally if we want to go for diagnosis, we will go for serum test, stool test, urine test. So conventional tests like serum test, urine analysis are not sufficient to trace a disease in the early stages. So what we are generally doing, our urine test or serum test, stool test, these sputum tests, these are not, with the help of this test, it is not possible to identify a disease causing pathogen or disease in the early embryonic, early stages of its infection, early stages of its infestation. So when a disease entered in the early stages, with the help of this, it is not possible. So it is compulsory to understand a disease in its early conditions. Why we have to understand a disease in early condition? If we are not understanding a disease in early condition, by the time symptoms appear, the disease causing pathogen will be more high in concentration in the body, and it will be difficult, and already body will be subjected to some harmful activities, some harm was made, some damage was made to the body cells or body tissues. How? Without damaging the body, without harming the body, if we want to treat the disease effectively, we have to identify the disease causing pathogen in the early stages of its infection. And early disease identification is possible not by serum or urine analysis. It can be made possible by different techniques like polymerase chain reactions, with the help of molecular probes. Early detection is possible. cDNA probes we have seen in the DNA fingerprinting. Early detection is possible. It is with for techniques like polymerase chain reactions and radioactive isotopes, radio labeled isotopes, recombinant DNA technology. ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Various techniques like recombinant DNA technology, polymerase chain reactions, ELISA, with which we are able to identify or we are able to diagnose a disease in its early conditions. How, sir? We have already seen isolation of the DNA, and DNA will be used, digested by restriction endonucleases. Various fragments will be obtained. These fragments will be separated by gel electrophoresis. And they will be identified easily by giving color, ethidium bromide. They were made into single stranded structures, single stranded, and shifted to southern blot, southern blotting, nylon sheet. So on the nylon sheet, these DNA fragments are present. Now molecular probes, which are called single stranded DNA or single stranded RNA. Molecular probes, which are called single stranded DNA or single stranded RNA, are used. They are having radioactive isotopes. Generally phosphorus 32 is the radioactive substance used, and with the selectable marker, radioactivity is the selectable marker, and it is going to hybridize, join. Whenever they were joined, they will be taken X-ray film, which is called autoradiography. When they were exposed to X-ray film by autoradiography to trace, it is easy if any. What is this here lies? Complementarity, base complementary. These are called base complementary to the DNA, maximum variable number of tandem repeats, probes. And if any gene or any substance is mutated, changed in the probe, it is not having complementary for the mutated gene, mutated base. So wherever complementarity is there, it is identified, blocked. If this is having mutation, changed, it is not having complementary base in the already taken probe. So probes are used to identify which genes are mutated, to understand mutations, to identify the cancer, to identify HIV/AIDS patients, cancer, to detect cancer, HIV, breast cancer, in various diseases. For the diagnosis of the disease in the early conditions, these techniques are widely used. PCR technique is widely used. PCR technique is nothing but a small amount of DNA can be manipulated into multiple copies, where we use the molecular probes and we will add hybridization. If any gene in the patient's body is mutated, any mutation, any genetic disorder is there, changed, that change is not found in the complementary probe. So various steps of complementary probes are available. Now with the help of southern blot, DNA is identified, southern blotting. With the help of northern blotting, northern blotting is to identify RNA. Western blotting is there, western blotting to identify proteins by producing antibodies. Proteins are antigens, antibodies. Particular antibody if you produce, able to identify which type of protein it is. Now molecular diagnosis means the thing is we have to identify the nature of the disease, causative organism of the disease, and what are the changes because of that disease. If you are able to identify all these things in the early conditions, we can give symptomatic treatment, properly treatment, remedial treatment. Now, last one, ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. The process is not required, but only thing is here based upon antigen antibody, based on antigen and antibody, we are able to identify disease causing organism. For example, these are the antigens which are because by the entry of a proteinaceous material into our body. If a proteinaceous material like this is entered into my body, in my body what happens? My body cells wants to fight with this. Hey, don't enter. They will stop this. How they will stop? They will produce natural antibodies. These are called antibody. This is called antigen. When a particular foreign body enters into my body, which is a disease causing structure, when it comes, it will come and stop. So many will be formed. They will attach here like this. They will attach here like this. They will attach here. What are these? These are the receptor sites, anti-receptors. So this antigen, if you know the antigen, we can identify easily antibody. Or if we know the antibody, we can easily identify, and this is called AGAB complex. Antigen, based upon the antigen antibody complex, identification of a particular pathogen or disorder by antigen antibody complex formation to detect either antigen or antibody. So same antigen, type of antigen antibody cannot coexist together. In blood groups you might have studied multiple alleles. So molecular diagnosis to identify a protein with the help of some enzymes, with the help of a process is different. So ELISA test will be there, ELISA plate will be there, joining the enzymes when they are forming agglutination. This part is called agglutination, AGAB complex formation. So every pathogen is having antigen property, and that particular antibody will be there. So monoclonal antibodies are produced by biotechnology, genetical engineering. Monoclonal antibodies are used. A kit of monoclonal antibodies are there for every. Within few hours, we can diagnose a disease, whatever disease it is. So here, various techniques with which there is a possibility of detection of any pathogen in the early conditions. Now, molecular diagnosis, there is a chance in PUC examination also they may ask what are the 3 criteria of molecular diagnosis. They can ask a question, they can create. So for 3 marks or 5 marks they can ask this also. Transgenic animals. A transgenic animal is that whose genetic material has been changed, altered, or a transgenic animal is that which possesses an extra gene in its body, a foreign gene in its body. A transgenic animal which is having an extra gene and expresses that gene in its body. So transgenic animals are nothing but genetically modified organisms which carry
an extra gene, a foreign gene in their body. It is not natural. It is by biotechnology, technique, wantedly, purposefully, we are going to change these organisms to understand various secrets of biology, various secrets of the gene and its behavior, functioning of the gene, work of the gene, and what are the factors responsible for the growth of an organism, how tissues are developed, how genes are responsible for forming normal tissues and carcinogenic tumorous tissues, how this chemical coordination in the body cells is happening, and how a particular organism's body is responsible to a particular pathogen's attack, and how to use biological materials to produce recombinant transgenic animals in future to produce various types of human proteins in the body of transgenic animals. And for the vaccine safety and for the toxicity test, whenever a particular chemical is produced in the laboratory, we are going to test whether this chemical is having adverse effect or good effects, poisonous effect. So just simply we cannot use this chemical after its production in the laboratory on a human being, because if it causes some toxic activity, human will die. So we are going to produce transgenic animals. These animals are nothing but model organisms to understand various types of diseases of human beings. So disease causing genes are introduced into these animals, and we are going to test what is happening to these animals. And we are going to see transgenic animals detailedly in the coming class.